Hey, everybody. Nice to see everybody. I'm in Kauai, Hawaii on vacation. I'm here with my daughter and son in law. They're getting ready to run a marathon on Sunday, and I'm enjoying the scenery. And I couldn't wait for today because we've got Daniel Knight on. And I'm going to actually let Daniel introduce himself and who he is and what makes him so cool. And then I'll ask a few questions. And before we get started, we don't know you're here unless you comment in the chat. So please make some comments, ask questions, or just say hello so we know you're here. Please feel free to communicate with each other in the chat. But you are a mystery to us if you don't kind of shout something out into the chat. So we hope you do. All right, yeah. Daniel, it's all you.
Awesome.
What's cool about Daniel?
What's cool about Daniel? You didn't prep me for that question. So I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing is I really like unicorns, and you invited me on. I was reluctant at first because I'm terrified of bees, but so I was thinking maybe we could have a unicorn and a bee war in the chat. So in the chat, put unicorns in there if you're here. Put some bees in the chat because I thoroughly enjoy seeing it lit up with all those fun emojis. So yeah, so I don't know, maybe that's something that's cool about me. I really like unicorns. I think they're magical. I think they're awesome. And I think anybody watching is a unicorn. And
yeah. Well, we got one from, if you look in the chat, I don't know if you can see it, but Renata is from the UK. It's midnight her time.
Yeah.
That's a pretty special unicorn right there.
Yes, and she threw in some unicorns.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, so she's here. We got Julie Smith Nestor. Hey, Julie, you're awesome. Anyway, yeah, so my name is Daniel Knight, and I am the Chief Executive Unicorn of Unicorn Universe. And I'm all about making connections and bringing people together and doing it from a place that's very synergistic, aligning people who have similar missions, visions, values, passions, and things like that. So I think that's pretty cool. A lot of people need one thing or another, and I like making those connections to help them get it. So so that's just a little bit about me, and we'll say that's what's cool about me. So
awesome. Well, it is, and that's one of the things that really, you have an amazing following on LinkedIn, and because you are so into connections and who you know and who you can support and how we can. And you teaching us, it's your connections, it's how you support people and not just say hello and walk away. Your following on LinkedIn is pretty impressive.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And really, I appreciate everybody that's a part of it. And, my focus, so each month I have a focus. And this month, as much as you may, believe it or not, this hasn't been the theme for a single month yet, but it's connection. This month, my sole focus, there's a lot, but it's all about connection. So all about bringing people together. And I want to deepen those relationships with all the people that I am connected with. I want to focus more on golden connections and making that magic happen that I think can really, change people's lives and have a very massive impact. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, cool. And this is a question I tend to forget. So I'm going to ask them now. And we've got amazing comments in there and a lot of people. How do people find you that might not know you on LinkedIn? Because I know some of my clients might be looking on Facebook that don't see me on LinkedIn. So how do people find out more about you?
So it's all, whatever domain /10x unicorn. So we'll chat about that toward the end. But that's kind of my passion side project that I want to be known as. And so on LinkedIn, it's 10x unicorn. On Instagram is the only one that has an underscore. So it's 10x _ unicorn. Mm-hmm. But YouTube, Facebook, wherever, that's where you can find me. And it's Daniel Knight all over the place. You'll see me either. LinkedIn's the only place where I've got the black and white headshot. Otherwise, I'm standing in front of this black and red 10x sign. So
cool. Yep. Nice. Okay. So this show is about sharing some of our stories that hopefully will impact some of our listeners, right? Is that I don't want anybody to feel alone, and stories, that's a legacy that we're leaving. And also stories help other people, right? When they're thinking, wow, I'm not alone in that, whatever that might be. So what story would you like to share?
So this one just actually just popped in my head. We were talking about it, and this is not on my radar at all. But I'm going to talk about the day that I found out that I wasn't going to be that I was going to be the oldest male living in the house. And my basically, I one day I received a phone call that was my dad, and he had to pay collect to reach out, and he was in a halfway house, and he told me that he was only going to be able to be home half of the time. That's basically where they put you while they're trying to decide what they're going to do with you. If they're going to lock you up in prison or what's going to happen. And he told me that Daniel, you need to be the man of the house. So you got to take care of your siblings. You got to take care of your mom. You got to take care of everything. And and I was 9 years old at the time. And
Wow.
yeah, and so it, I didn't realize till only really like a few years ago when I was meeting with somebody who was kind of digging into that she really like emphasized like how hard that is for a child to hear. And my mom always says, she's like, I can remember the day all of a sudden you're fixing light bulbs, you're unclogging the vacuum, you're fixing computers, and just like trying to take charge. And she asked me one time, she's like, did Poppy tell you that you have to be the man of the house? I'm like, yeah, he did. So Poppy is what I call my dad.
Yeah. So when you look back on that, fond memories, scared memories, what boils up for you around this story?
I wouldn't be who I am today if it weren't for that. It really kind of got me into fixing things, which really got me into business in a lot of different ways. I think I was always kind of going to end up being in business in one way or another because my dad was a businessman. He had bakeries. He had a financial company. He did all sorts of things, and it was always his own company for the most part. So my first company, I was 12 years old. I was fixing people's electronics. I posted an ad on KSL.
There you go.
Yeah, hey, if you have a computer that you need reformatted, let me know. I'll do it for you. I charged $100. You couldn't beat that price. They dropped off the computer at my mom's house, and I'd fix it in my basement, call them up when it was done, and they were happy. I made $100. That otherwise I wasn't making money at 12 years old, other than the
Right.
PayPal. But
there you go, CEO in the making.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah. Well, it's interesting because we have a little bit of a similar story. When I was about, I don't know, 12-ish, my father was a drug dealer, and I knew he was a drug dealer when I was about 10, and my mom and dad were divorced. But when I was about 12, he became addicted to heroin. So he was a heroin addict. And I remember when I would visit him that I would make sure that, that when he fell asleep, that I would get the cigarette out of his hand because he had all these burn marks in his bed from cigarettes. And I would go home to my mom's home and just have nightmares that, I'd get a phone call that, dad just caught himself on fire kind of thing. So that caring for family, caring for, your mom. Yeah. That's a lot for a 9-year-old and a, 10-year-old to bear.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I mean, it is what it is, right? At the end of the day. And, and that's just kind of what makes us who we are. And there's a lot more to that whole story on, what happened with my dad. I'm not going to get into it because I wrote an article about it, and you can actually find it on my LinkedIn profile. So
cool.
There's it's pretty exciting, but
I will look for it because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. It's titled something. Yeah, I'm not going to say it on LinkedIn Live, but there's money laundering, drug cartel. There's Operation Utah Powder. There's your little sneak preview. So go check it out if you want to learn just a little bit more and kind of what happened there. So yeah.
So we got Chris Berryman having quite a few comments. Thanks, Chris, for being here. And his last, I don't know if you can see it, Daniel, the story of humanity hasn't been told. Okay. I'm not sure that's on my shoulders.
Come on, Tanya. You
not while I'm in Kauai. No, not this week.
Yeah. So everybody's jealous of you, right? I mean,
oh my God, this is a gorgeous island. This is amazing.
So you got there yesterday?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
What's been your favorite part so far?
The thing, I've been to some of the other islands, and what really has captured my heart is I knew that Jurassic Park was filmed here, and like Pirates of the Caribbean was filmed here, and I just thought, oh, okay, no big deal. And then I came to this island, and literally as we're driving to our Airbnb, when you're looking off to the right, there's the ocean, and it's gorgeous, right? You're just driving, you're just driving around about 40 minutes from the airport. The whole view to your right is the ocean, which I live in San Diego. So yes, I'm used to the ocean. Still, I'm on a tropical island, so it's a little bit different than San Diego.
Yeah.
But then you look out the left window and there's just tropical forest and these huge mountains, and they're so tropical and lush and green beyond green. And then you see these huge fields where like the Brontosaurus were running, in the movie. And that's the field. And there's a sign saying, Jurassic Park location, whatever. And the beauty is amazing. I mean, obviously there's tourists and there's tourist traps and things like that. But not quite so built up quite yet anyway, so there's still a lot of places to go. We went to a coffee shop this morning that had, zero tourists. My daughter is amazing on, her Yelp and her phone, finding places that are off the beaten trail. So we went to amazing coffee place, and I had a macadamia nut latte. Amazing. It was like, okay, so a little tropical in there. So it's something like, it's been 24 hours. So that's it. We're having sushi for dinner tonight. And when we're off, we've got our snorkels and our fins, and we're off to go snorkeling on Nanini Beach.
Cool. That sounds like a lot of
So
fun.
I'll have more to share next week.
Cool. Very nice. So what time is it there for you?
Right now it is 1:12.
Okay, cool. Good deal. Cool,
So I
cool.
got another question here. What is the one thing that truly connects us to all, Tanya Bugby and Daniel Knight? Well, I'm going to say the obvious, but Daniel, you want to go first?
You're gonna say the obvious. I feel like it is kind of obvious. I mean, we all have a story, right?
Yep, exactly.
We all come from one place or another, and that's the thing, and it kind of relates to a post I put up this morning, which I was kind of nervous about putting up, by the way, just because my beginning line was a little dicey.
Yeah,
but
I think I read it. Yeah.
And look, at the end of the day, like, and that's the thing, like we really do all have a story, and you can't judge anybody for whatever they're dealing with, because like you really don't know what's happening now or in the past or what's going to happen in the future.
Right.
I always like to say that, and that, the past is not what defines us. It's what we do now and going forward that really is what will define us. And I find it very interesting that like the majority of my life, I haven't known anything, right? And it's only been like the past 5, maybe 10 years that I feel like I've really been actually learning and figuring out how to be, an adult and like a good person. It's like, that's only 10 years. Like you grow so much in such a short period of time that like your story is not written. It's never too late to get started. It's never, you've never screwed up so bad that it's, your life is over, because it's not. You're here, so it's not over. And if it's not over, you still have time to write a new legacy,
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we have so many chapters in our past. I mean, I have my divorce chapter, and I remember being a single mom. My ex moved, we were in Houston. He moved to Maine. So my ex left. I've got I have a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old, and my income was always discretionary, so now I'm going, holy shit. I don't have discretionary income, right? It's my income. And I hired a coach, and she is my hero, hands down. Got me through my divorce, raised my kids, grew a phenomenal business with her, guidance and support. So all these little stories, like, there was so much shame around my divorce. There's no shame around my divorce anymore. I mean, my kids saw me become a very strong, independent, self-sufficient woman because of it, which they didn't see beforehand.
Right.
Yeah. So there's no shame in any of our chapters, any of them.
Yeah.
And we still have plenty of time to write more.
100%.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah. No matter what your age is or gender or anything,
Yeah. Curious what Jonah had to say, because Chris Berryman, who is very supportive, by the way,
Yeah.
said he agrees. Oh, he basically said what we were saying. So, and no, there is not an earthquake going on here. If you see my table rocking, it's because I have this giant dog that doesn't want to relax right now. So I am tending to him while he's attacking me. So
My dog has learned to sit at my feet when I coach, and in the winter it's great. It's like having little fuzzy socks on. Summer, not so much.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. A lot of people know him. I've been pretty. I mean, he's joined in on some of my live streams, and we'll see if he joins in on this one. It may be, it's out of my control, honestly. So.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to put you on the spot again, and if you don't have an answer, it's okay. I have lots of questions. How about a story a fun one, like something that you wish you could relive again? It was so much fun.
Oh boy. Can I tell one that I wish that I don't want to relive again, but it's still
yes, anyone you want. And again, if anybody has a question, throw it in the comments. We'll answer it or not.
Okay. So this was fun. This is the story about how I was a blind man for a month. So when I was a preteen, before I could drive, me and my buddy would make these toilet bowl cleaner bombs, and basically, don't try this at home. Full disclaimer: it's not a safe thing to do. Basically, you mix a specific type of toilet bowl cleaner with aluminum foil, and then you put it in a bottle, and you mix it up, and you close the bottle, and you shake it up, and then it explodes, and you can tell when it's going to explode because the bottle expands and it gets all hot, and you're like, okay, time to throw it, right? So it was after a church dance, and this is when I was LDS going to church dances, and I rode one of those wave street surfing boards home with my friend, and we stopped at Walmart. We got all the ingredients to make this works bomb. Oh, there you go. There's the I said the cleaner. And so we made the thing, and he's like, oh, Daniel, look, it's getting hot. So he hands it. This is a good visual representation. It's facing at me, right? And the thing blows up in my face as I'm reaching out to grab it, gets all up in my eyes, goes down my throat. So I've got aluminum foil and toilet bowl cleaner down my throat, in my eyes, burning. Remind you, I'm coming home from a church dance. I'm swearing like nobody's business. Like, it's late, like everybody's asleep, and dogs are barking around the neighborhood because this bomb just went off, and I'm swearing like a sailor, right? Well, yeah. So that's kind of what happened. And then my friend's mom comes rushing out of the house. She's like, what's going on? She like rinses me off with the hose, sprays water in my eyes, says, go home, tell your mom, like, wash off.
But you did.
Yeah. So she took me home. I went home. I showered, rinsed out my eyes. Like, I'll be good. I went to sleep. So I woke up, and guess who could not see? I was totally blind, literally black. Like, that was something else. Never experienced that in my life before that, and don't want to go through that again.
No.
But yeah, and my mom wasn't even home when I woke up. So I'm sitting there waiting for her, trying to get my siblings to get her to come home. And finally she does. She kind of loses it. She rushes me to the ER. They rush me in past everybody. Like, they're like, we got to save his eyes, like, right now, which I'm grateful they did. Because, then I had to, ultimately, it came down to, I had to wear these eye patches. So then they called me Eye Patch Man in middle school. That was fun.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, be nice to people in middle school, okay? Like, you don't know what's gonna happen. And
I know.
That's a tough age. So, come on.
Yeah.
But,
well, I'm sure you got teased for it. I got teased for my last name. It was awful. I love my last name, but I hated it as a, middle-aged human.
Yeah.
Hated it. Yeah. Yeah. Kids can be mean. Well, okay. So we're not going to repeat that story.
Well, I'm not going to relive it. That's for sure. I'll probably write about it at some point. That one's article worthy. And I should give all the ingredients with specific instructions and post it to all the middle schools.
Yeah.
So
So you got, why would you make those bombs, Daniel?
why does anybody do anything? I was 12 years old and it's a little silly. That's not the worst thing I did in middle school. So
No.
nobody
Boys
was.
will be boys, humans will be humans, because I would have done something like that. Although I probably would have fessed up a little sooner. I don't know. We'll see.
Well,
All right. So what is your field of dreams, Tanya and Daniel? You want to go first or you want me to go first?
let's have you go first.
My field of dreams. So I'm taking that field of dreams metaphor as a big one, right?
Okay.
A big dream. Well, I started my own coaching company in March. It's been growing slow and steady, so I'd like it to grow more. So my field of dreams is having a very successful, which means making more money and helping more clients. So
Yeah.
twofold in there. I love impacting my clients and helping my clients. It doesn't feel like a job. Like when you said, I can't believe you're going to do this in Hawaii. I'm not coaching, but I'm speaking at the WISE conference. I'm a breakout speaker at the end of September. So I'm practicing. My profession doesn't feel like a job, so I'm so blessed. But my field of dreams outside of growing my own coaching company is, I would love it if I have two daughters and they're 24 and 26, and one just had a baby a year ago. So I have a 1-year-old granddaughter. If we all lived like within the same 5 minutes, or if I bought this huge compound on the beach and we all just lived on this compound on the beach, that would be a field of dream for me.
Okay.
Yeah, my number one value is connection, especially with family. So,
That's great.
but I have one daughter that lives in Oregon and one who wants to move to Kauai, and I live in San Diego. So I'm not sure how that's going to happen, but Chris, I'm not giving up on it. Your turn, Daniel. Your field of dream.
Okay. So I'll start with the shortest version I can possibly say. It's a 2-word answer, which is Unicorn Island.
There you go.
You and I are speaking a similar language. And what's
Yep.
on Unicorn Island? Unicorns and palm trees and a good time and just a party, And so that's definitely a dream. It's definitely not intangible by any means. But yeah, so that'd be like my biggest, kind of, if anything, pie in the sky, like non-impactful, just, very materialistic dream. But it would be utopic, right? Like that would be quite the place to live. Maybe all the houses would be rainbows and unicorns, and you could ride a rainbow. You could ride the rainbow from one unicorn house to another. And you only.
I'm in. As long as my kids come and visit often, but I'm in. I love the water. It's my go-to place whenever I feel stressed or burnt out. Living in San Diego, nice long walk on the beach, and I know when they're not crowded. Usually it's after 6 p.m. If I go for a walk at 7 or 7:30, typically it's only me or 4 other people. That's where I go. So having unicorns there would be awesome.
And it'd only be accessible by private unicorn jets. So
okay, all right.
I put a lot of thought into this, actually.
You have. Well, I'm thinking I'm staying.
yeah, let's go. So stay tuned. Let's set a 10-year goal for that one. It's on.
There we go. I'm in. Yeah, and I am all about connection. And the clients that I coach, especially, well, it doesn't matter. I coach executives and I also coach business owners. And it is about who we know and how we connect, especially with our business owners. But if I'm coaching an executive that has direct reports, manager or two, those are their connections. And how are they going to show compassion and grace and love and leadership around them? Some don't understand that yet. That's why we're here, right? It's not their way or the highway. It certainly isn't do this and get it done. There's so much more to humanity than do this project and get it done, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. As my business partner, Michael Gray, always says, people, not projects.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And not everybody gets that yet. Hence the great resignation that we've had, right?
Well, let me tell you, that took me a long time to really understand. And I feel like I'm still not understanding it. So yeah. And that was for you, Slobodanka. There is a pilot for the jet. She is our content fairy. It is her life goal. So this is a double whammy. We'll probably help a lot of people achieve their field of dreams with that goal. But she wants to fly a plane, and so I told her that whatever happens when we get to that island, you're flying us there the very first time, and whether you're ready or not, we'll hand you the controls, and we're gonna get there. I didn't say she can take it off or she can land it, but but yeah, that's Jolene Wilkinson. She's amazing. She's our content fairy. She writes all the magical things that you see that come from Unicorn Universe. So
nice. Yeah. Very cool. I kind of had this visual of, I don't know, I'm going to really date myself right now, Daniel. I'm probably dating even you, but the visual of Fantasy Island, where they all went to the runway to meet all the new guests on Fantasy Island. So who else besides me knows what Fantasy Island is in the show? Oh, somebody's got to know besides me.
Because I do not, and I'm
and so this little guy on the runway is going, the plane. It's like I just visualized that as the plane was landing with all of our unicorn connections.
That's amazing. Yeah.
See, thank you, Karen Henson. I love you. Yeah. She said it right here. See, the plane. Yep.
I'm terrible with movies and stuff like that. So yeah. So that's my I would, the super kind of out there, just fun dream. I have a much more kind of specific and more impactful dream, I guess, that I would, be happy to share. I've been somewhat public about it, but yeah. So I don't know if you're cool with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, please. Okay. Because you got to share your impactful thing, right?
Yeah.
So, and I wanted to share this quote from the book The Go-Giver by John David Mann and Bob Burg, which
great book.
Amazing. And I can't remember if it's, so they talk about the 5 keys to stratospheric success. And one of them mentions that, and I'm going to butcher the quote, so,
right.
Direct quote, but your true value is determined by how many people you can help and how much you can help them. I think I nailed the quote, actually. So, so that's really what I'm trying to do. And I'm seeing people that are so supportive in the chat. It's like making me so happy. Like Felix, he's always supportive. Golden, super supportive. Gretchen, I see you popping up all the time. Brian Dexter, Slobodonka, Julie, and I got to call people out because they're amazing. Sima, Chris Berryman, Jonah Gray. Seriously, you guys, without all of these people, I wouldn't be anywhere close to as passionate as I am about what my goal is and what my real dream is. And I was thinking about it today on my bike ride with my 30-pound 4-month-old today, Doberman, that I don't need to put a number on it. It's really how, my goal is to, am I back?
No, okay. Well, you might be, but it's okay. Yep.
Okay. Yep. So my goal really, my biggest mission here is to challenge, encourage, and inspire as many people as I can in my life and for lives to come, for generations, as long as possible, to really be the best version of themselves they can be, and be positive and believe in themselves, and dream big. That's the whole 10x unicorn thing to me, is applying the massive think with massive action. Dream big, think big, take big actions. That's what I want to do, is help people live their fullest life. And
and that's one of the reasons why I love all your posts, and it resonates with me, because it's the same thing for not just my clients, it's my my friends and my family, but my kids are always like, stop that coaching thing, Mom. So my kids not so much. But it's like when my 1-year-old granddaughter was born, I'm sitting there going, she's gonna reach her dreams for sure, right? Yes. And I take it that step further with her and my clients. It's like, you're not going to forget that you have superpowers. How many humans, when they hit puberty or whatever, whatever age, they forget their superpowers or they're embarrassed by them. And so to have my clients and my community revisit their superpowers and own them, I'll die a happy woman if I can do that with a lot of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right. We are at about a half an hour. So 2 quick questions. Number 1, do you want to give us a sneak peek? You might have some accountability in here to a goal, or what's your next chapter?
Oh, yeah. So really the next chapter, and I've been very focused on this, is just bringing together more people into the community of unicorns. Are my company, and I've got some business partners and people supporting us. Unicorn Universe is really focused on bringing people together, and today is perfect because we shared our unicorn DNA and announced that we are bringing together unicorns every week and more intimately, and we really just want to make as big of an impact as possible. So I'm not going to put a number on it because I think sky's the limit, and really the more people we can bring together, the more people we can help and positively impact. And so so that's and I don't know if that's really the next chapter. I would say if there were, because that's like current chapter. That's like I'm writing it every single day. But
and that's okay. Your chapter's still got a ways to go. Then it's gonna be a long one.
Always, right? I mean,
yeah.
Like success is a never-ending target, and the impact that you can have on people's lives is a never-ending target.
Yeah, yeah, yes. And Brian said, value is key here. It is, right? I mean, obviously we need to pay our mortgages, pay our bills, and money is a necessity. That it's there. We can't pretend that it's not there, but how we touch people, how we impact them and support them and connect with them, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for sharing your current long chapter. All right, last question. When you're feeling a little low, is there a favorite quote, song, book, movie that you go to, or what do you go to?
I hadn't felt this way in a while, and I would say what I go to are people, and this community on LinkedIn. I mean, last week I was having a pretty rough day. This was a week ago exactly, and I posted about it, and that was like, probably the most direct. Like, I just needed some help. I needed some positivity, and everybody showed up, and I made some new friends that are, part of my music genre culture that I love, that I think is going to help me, make more of an impact too. And it was just amazing. Like, so, when you were kind of telling me about this earlier, I was thinking, there's a quote, it's taped on my computer right here. There's some songs, they're all amazing, but it's really people. Like, you got to have people around you that are ready to support you and ready to be there for you when you really need it. You got to reach out and ask for it. So
yes. So the reaching out and asking sometimes is a challenge. So glad to hear, right? We got to reach out and ask for help, and obviously having the right people in our community. And you have an amazing group of people in your community, and growing. So we know we want to keep growing that. So I lied. I have another question because this is so cool. How do we support you in this chapter?
I mean, really every interaction with whatever you see from me is always helpful. Like I said, am building the community, the official community of unicorns that would be coming together regularly. So, the most helpful thing would be reach out to me if you ever need anything. If I can help somebody, that's going to help me feel the most fulfilled as possible. Honestly.
Okay. Well, we'll keep spreading that message, and I appreciate you being here on this earth, no matter where you are. Where are you? Where are you right now? Where's your spot?
I'm in Utah, about a half hour south of downtown Salt Lake. So.
Nice. Yeah. I know we've got someone, Karen is, no, sorry, that's Idaho. So I misspeak. Sorry. Let's just rewind and take 2 on that one. Well, I want to thank everybody for showing up. This has been really, really fun. I love it when we get a lot of comments. It makes such a big difference. So thank you, Daniel, for coming. And thank you for all the guests who are commenting for coming. You know how to help Chris. And if anybody wants to be on this show and share a story or two about your life and how you might be able to impact or improve someone's life or help somebody feel not alone in their story, then please direct message me on LinkedIn or Facebook, and we'll talk about it. So thank you. And any last words from you, Daniel, before I end?
Just from Thor, he's going to say hello and goodbye to everybody.
Oh, and I'm so sad that Charlie can't be here.
So yeah. So if anybody knows, this is my little guy he thinks he's a lap dog. He's 30 pounds now and 4 months old today. So tell him happy month day.
Happy month day. And he's going to be twice that size before you know it.
So big. I can't even handle it. Hey, but you got to give me props. I've been keeping him pretty well under control this whole time. And I was like, I think you should say hi.
Yep, he should say, and he got that treat, that huge treat.
Yeah, he did. And a bunch of other things.
Okay, good. All right, Daniel, I will see you on LinkedIn. Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you
everybody.
so much, Tanya. Thank you, everybody. Take care.